It always catches me off guard and I look like horrendous. It like freezes on my chin or something like that. Hello there and welcome to the podcast, The Real Podcaster of Alistry. Thank you for joining us. And today I am joined on the pod couch with Nel Flint.
Hello.
Hello, Nel.
Lovely to meet you.
So we've got Nel on the pod who owns Nel Flint Career Coaching, and I am excited to find out a little bit more about all of that. But first, Nel, tell us, who is Nel Flint?
So I am a woman in my 40s-ish. I have lived in Derby the majority of my life, and I live in the city centre with my husband and my not-so-little boy who's 11.
Oh, 11, that's nice. That's a nice age.
Dreading him going to secondary school next year. Dreading it.
Oh, wow.
He keeps telling me I need to chill.
Yeah, secondary school it just opens up a whole new world.
Yeah.
Lots of new influences, different experiences.
Yeah.
And you kind of you feel like you lose a bit of, I don't know if control is the right word, but you lose a little bit. Like you don't find out too much about what's going on anymore. You know what it's like at junior school or whatever. You're quite involved, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's like an extension of your family. But once they go off into secondary school, it's like...
Yeah, that's it.
Which secondary school is he going to?
He'll go to Woodlands.
Right, yeah.
So he's really excited, which is lovely.
Yeah,
he's got to that stage where I think he is more than ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's just
the kids generally love it. It's just us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a little bit about who Nel Flint is then. So tell us a bit about Nel Flint Career Coaching. So what is it and what services do you provide?
So my career coaching business is a side hustle. I run it alongside my full-time job. So from my 9 to 5, I'm an operations director of one of the UK's leading event management companies, which is based here in Derby and in London. But I started the career coaching really as a side hustle in COVID.
Right.
So during COVID, I worked at another travel and events management company. And I'd worked my way up to being the chief operating officer, which was a role that I'd kind of planned my whole career on. So got promoted to the COO role in the October, I think, of 2019. And it was like all of my dreams had come true, everything I'd worked really hard for. I felt like, this is it, I've done it, I've arrived. And then obviously COVID, February 2020. So all these grand plans that I had for being the COO stopped. And I spent the majority of 2020 making 400 people redundant.
Right.
And I think, hand on heart, it's the worst thing I've ever had to do. Sleepless nights, 12, 14-hour days. Got to the end of that year, and I remember going back to our first face-to-face exec meeting, and our boss at the time, the COO, had a directive from the group to say that we still hadn't cut enough costs.
Oh,
and I just thought at that point, I can't do this anymore. But during the summer of 2020, so many people in the travel and events industry were being made redundant.
Yeah.
And a lot of friends, ex-colleagues, people that I used to work with, acquaintances, had got in contact with me saying, Nel, do you mind having a quick look over my CV? Or, Nel, I've got an interview next week, please would you be able to help me? And I kind of started doing it from there. In 2020, I did it all for nothing because I was devastated that so many people that I knew were going to be out of a job.
We're going through this, yeah.
But that kind of sparked this idea in my head that actually all of this stuff that I'm doing seems to be really helpful.
Yeah.
I remember one of my really good friends that I helped went from earning about 35 grand, went for an interview that I'd helped to prep for, and she got 100% pay rise. So she went from 35k to 70k overnight. And she was like, Nel, you've really helped me, like, you've completely changed my life. And I always think about that at the time. And then it kind of just came from there. So when I left that agency, I made that decision through fear, because I thought, well, if we're going to have to make more redundancies, eventually I thought I was going to get made redundant or the company would fold.
Yeah.
Looking back, I'd made 2 really bad career decisions over the course of the next 2 years. So left that agency, went to work for somewhere that I thought would be amazing. It wasn't, lasted a year, then took another job, again, out of fear. and spent two horrible years, worst 2 years of my career. But during that time, this idea that I had at the back of my head kept growing and kept growing. And eventually I pulled my finger out of my arse and did something about it.
Wow. But it still remains a side hustle at the minute.
Yeah.
So you are still Monday to Friday on the hamster wheel of corporate life.
Yeah.
And how's that? How's that job?
My 9-to-5 job, I still love.
Right, good.
I've always loved events. And actually making the move back into events 2.5 years ago helped me to regain my confidence and then helped me to really make a go of this, of the side hustle.
Yeah.
And really inspired me to think about the 2 years that I'd had, the horrible year that everybody had in 2020. And I always talk about the fact that the thing that made me do this is the fact that everybody that I've spoken to, whether it's through the side hustle or whether it's through managing people, the majority of women that I talk to always say, I just wish I felt more confident. And that's what really drives me, because I see so many women with so much potential but so little self-belief.
Right. So that's kind of a passion of yours to help instill that.
Yeah.
So how do you have time for this side hustle when you've got such a busy 9-to-5?
I'd like to get up early.
Right.
I think I make time to do it because I love it.
You make it work.
I see the benefit that it has, and it's also really fulfilling.
Right.
It is the thing that, from a work perspective, I do love what I do 9-to-5. I do love that job.
Yeah.
And it helps me with what I do. It gives me credibility. It keeps me in touch with being a hiring manager, which is really important. And it drives me to do better in my side hustle as well.
Yeah. So you make it work.
Yeah, and I'm fortunate that the agency I work for know that I do this. They're really supportive. My job is flexible. I work remotely. So, I can do things like this.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well, I suppose it's like, this is my side hustle.
Yeah.
It's just a passion
more and
for
more
fun.
Common,
it doesn't, it's not for any specific reason, or it doesn't pay any bills or anything, but it's just something that I get something out of that maybe I don't get out of my day job.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's given us a bit of an idea about what led you to start Nel Flint Career Coaching.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit more about what it is, this kind of the services you provide, and what people can get.
So, as I said, when I first started this, even a couple of years ago, I started by rewriting people's CVs or writing CVs from scratch. I would help people with interview applications and an interview preparation session. And whilst I still offer all those services, I've more recently moved into what I call corporate confidence coaching.
Right.
Off the back of the feedback that I got from so many clients that said, yep, you wrote a great CV, Nel, but the thing that you gave me was my confidence back. So this led me to thinking, actually, what is the thing that I give to people, and it's helping them with their confidence.
Right.
So really recently, just last week actually, I did a masterclass online, which I promoted through my Instagram, which opened the doors for people to sign up to join my either 90-day confidence coaching package or a shorter 6-week confidence coaching package.
Wow. So what is involved in that? What would someone expect?
So with the breakthrough package, that's 6 weeks. That's 3 shorter sessions with me. So 3 one-to-one sessions with me.
Okay, so one-to-one, yeah.
And we focus on getting really clear about what it is that makes them lack confidence. Most of the time, it's to do with limiting beliefs. It's to do with either something specific or a series of things that have happened to them. In the second session, then we'll work on, okay, now we know what's stopping you from feeling confident. We'll work on how can we get over those beliefs or hurdles. And then in the third session, we concentrate on what's going to come next for them.
Wow.
So each person that I work with, the package is bespoke because there's hundreds of reasons why people don't feel confident.
Yeah.
And then there is, again, hundreds of things that person might want to do next. The 90-day package starts in a similar way, but is much more in-depth. And I like to think that the thing that makes that package unique is that, again, totally one-to-one, bespoke for that person's requirements, but I am all about taking action. I think that's something that comes out definitely in my day-to-day job.
Yeah.
It's not just about thinking about things and talking about things, it's about the so what. So in that 90-day package, I give people what I call mini confidence missions from one session to the next, because that's where I believe confidence comes from, is backing yourself and taking that really small action, and then all of those actions add up.
Wow. Gosh, that sounds really interesting. And actually, I'm just thinking, like, as you were talking, it sounds like a lot of people could benefit from that, not just in terms of career.
Yeah.
Like confidence in all areas
Absolutely.
of life.
Yeah.
You know, that could actually benefit lots
Anybody.
of people. Yeah. Where lacking in confidence is, affecting a certain area of their life.
Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. Gosh, that sounds really amazing. So can you describe for us a bit about your career coaching style, or your confidence coaching style? Like, thinking about your ethos, your values, what's important to you. Like, how does that come across in your work when you're working with people?
I think, as I've touched on, I am very action focused. So, and if you spoke to anybody that ever worked with me, I imagine they would say the same thing, that I'm very direct. I talk about in my 90-day package that there's no fluff. I'm not the sort of coach that is going to get you to sit with a candle and journal for hours, although that works for some people. I'm all about integrity, honesty, taking that next small step in order to build action. And I like to have some fun with the person as well. It can be quite a serious topic. People can feel like they're unburdening themselves to me. Quite often in those first sessions, people will cry. But as we work together, then I like to try and find the fun in things as well, and to get people to understand that your career doesn't always have to be being, I talk about, we don't have to be a man in a navy blue suit. You can find confidence by finding the fun in yourself and finding what you enjoy.
Oh, wow. Interesting. That's quite powerful, actually. Yeah. So that really, I suppose the more you work with someone and the more they get to know you and trust you and vice versa, then it becomes a little bit more...
laid back, relaxed,
but
still with that focus at the end of looking back over that 6 weeks or the 3 months that you've worked with me and thinking about, wow, look how far we've come. Look at where we started at the beginning and still where you can go in the future.
So it is about, you said action, so it's about just moving forward, just continuously moving forward, even if it's just small steps.
Yeah, and acknowledging those small steps and then celebrating them as well, because that's a really important part of gaining your confidence back. Noticing the small stuff. So from your experience so far, why do people generally come to you for career coaching? Like, what do you see as the most sort of common themes or issues that people really need support with? So I think the majority of people would think that they would come to me in the first instance because they want a new job, or perhaps they want a promotion in their current job. But when we start digging into that, it's, I'd say 50% of the time, they don't really want a new job. They want to feel better in themselves in their current job. Sometimes people come to me because they absolutely want to leave where they are. I've worked with plenty of women who have been in really toxic work environments. They recognise that and they need to get out, and that can be quite a quick fix. They see a job, they want to apply for the job, we write them a CV, help them with their application, bang, they get the new job. But I think what's more powerful is when people come to me, and a lot of the women that I'm working with at the moment are, I would say, mid to senior level women who know that they're ready for that next step, but they also acknowledge that their lack of confidence or their perceived lack of confidence is holding them back. So we talk about how they can use all of the skills, all of their own brilliance, because they come to me and they know exactly what they're doing. It's just about them being able to articulate that to the right people so they're able to get that promotion or move into a new role.
Wow, that's fantastic. So if someone, we kind of touched upon this a little bit earlier, but if someone hired you as a career coach, what sort of thing would they expect, generally speaking, from the sessions, just to maybe help eradicate any fear maybe that might come from it?
So the first session is always spent getting to know each other. So I don't have a 50-sheet PDF that I give to somebody and say, you need to go away and do this, and then that's going to make you feel more confident.
Yeah.
You know, those packages are out there. People sell them on Instagram all of the time. But I like to think that the way that I work helps me get to know that person and that person get to know me as well. And actually, in the 90-day package, I actually offer a stop after the second session. So if the person feels it's not working, or if I feel I'm not the right coach, then we have that conversation and it's a full refund.
Yeah.
Because I'm so confident in the service that I provide that it's got to work for both of you.
It's got to be the right fit.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is lots of action. There's the expectation that if you sign up for any of my services, then you have to do something. It isn't a magic wand. I'm not going to give you a drink that's going to then make you magically feel more confidence, because that's not how it works.
Yeah, you've got to put in the work.
Yep.
So would there be some out of session work to be doing as well?
But
in the mean,
I always try to say that it's not extra to their lives. Because most of the women that come to work with me are busy. They're probably juggling a family, a career, or caring responsibilities. And the last thing that they want is another, 20 hours a week of doing stuff. It's
another job
to do with that you're ordinarily going to do in your everyday life. And it doesn't always have to be, the confidence missions don't have to be related to work, although they can be, because if someone's trying to increase their presence at work or become more visible, then that action's got to be at work. But sometimes increasing your confidence might be signing up for a gym class that you've been wanting to do for ages, but you're worried. It might be taking the dog out for a walk in the evening on your own, something that you really like doing but you felt you not had the time to do. And that confidence coaching absolutely impacts your job, because that's usually the reason people come to me, but then it can seep out into other areas.
Well. I can see, like, even from hearing about the services that you provide so far, I can see how it can absolutely link into other areas of people's lives, not just work. So is some of the support services one-off support?
Yes, I do offer a one-off package.
Yep.
I still, am happy to talk to people about a CV refresh, about preparing for an interview. Sometimes people come to me and say, I've got this meeting coming up, I've got to do a presentation, and I'm stuck, I don't know how to start. And more than happy to talk to people about those sort of things as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And we absolutely have answered this question, but one of my questions was, do you find when working with people in terms of career coaching, it often ends up leading and seeping into other areas of your life?
Yeah.
And the services and the empowerment that you bring actually then ends up helping them in other areas of their life? And it sounds like it absolutely does.
Yeah, because I think if you feel more confident in yourself, then you are more confident to be able to, I always talk to women about, it's really important to be able to articulate what you need. And that's not just at work, that's at home.
Yeah.
If you've had a busy day and you absolutely do not want to have to pack the dishwasher, you need to tell somebody that that's what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
You need to ask somebody else to do it. And if you've got that confidence at work, then you've absolutely got that confidence at home as well.
Yeah. Sign me up. I need to learn how to ask nicer someone to load the dishwasher instead of just load the freaking dishwasher. I do it all the time. You do it.
You have to be clear.
Yeah, clear in the communication.
Yes.
Personally, now, how do you manage balancing your busy life? You've got a big job, you've got your side hustle, you've got your family, other things. How do you cope and manage with that?
I think it helps that I'm super organised. It also helps that I like getting up early. I always find that a couple of hours in the morning before other people are up is probably my most productive time.
Right.
That's also when, if I can, I like to exercise. So I have to. I think sometimes my week is like regimentally planned, but I'm also in a very supportive relationship. My husband is amazing, and he's really hands-on. And some people say to me, "Oh, you're so lucky."
Oh.
I'm like, it's not luck. I purposefully chose to marry somebody who would do all of those
He's
things.
a good guy.
He is a good guy. Yeah, I'm very fortunate.
I love that. That's nice. That's nice. It just goes to show, though, the power of like a healthy relationship.
Absolutely.
Means that you
and
can
a partnership.
grow and blossom the both.
Yeah.
So what techniques do you practice to help you stay motivated and focused and wanting to achieve in your career?
I think one of the things, when I worked with a coach a few years ago, one of the things that she helped me to realise is that one of my values is movement. And that doesn't always mean to be like physical movement, although that really helps me. It really helps my mental health. But it's about always taking a step forward. And forward doesn't always mean up. Forward can mean starting a side hustle. It could mean volunteering. It's just, I like to be doing things, and I like to make sure that things that I do have a purpose as well, which is why I find this so fulfilling, because you can really quickly see how you've helped and impacted somebody's life.
Yeah, fantastic. So movement, not just physical, but literally as well. So what would your advice be for someone who might be listening to this thinking, I do feel either stuck in my career, or stuck in a job, or not sure about their next moves, or how to even maybe get back into the workplace, like but they don't know where to start, and it feels a little bit overwhelming. What would you say?
That always, I say that at the beginning, this advice might sound counterintuitive, but to slow down. And I think I learnt that because when I was in a position where I thought, oh God, I might not have a job soon, I just took a job that I thought would work.
Like a knee jerk.
Yeah. Whereas actually, if you're in a position where you can still get up every day and go to work, and I absolutely recognise that sometimes leaving is the only decision for people. But if you're in a position where you think, I don't hate my job, but perhaps I want to do something different, then take some time, take a step back, and don't just think about, I've always worked in travel, so I need to find another job in travel. Think about the skills that you have, and those skills might not be skills that you use in your day-to-day job. They could be skills that you use outside. And then also think about what you enjoy doing, and then think about companies that you like, and then think about if you can join all of those three things together. And then that might give you an idea that you've never had before.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, that's quite an interesting way of thinking about it, because I bet a lot of people, me included, have done the knee-jerk thing, and you kind of sticking with what you know, but changing it up a little bit, and then a few years later you're kind of in that same
position, with the same frustrations that you had 3 or 4 years ago, but you're just in a different place.
Really good advice.
I think so many women, especially when they get to, perhaps they've had children, they stayed somewhere because the job worked for them, it worked for their caring responsibilities. They get to a stage where they think, is this it now? And it's at that point where we should think about the massive amount of transferable skills that we've got, and then utilise those skills. There's hundreds and hundreds of things that women in midlife can do, right? But they don't believe in themselves enough. And I think that's where the power of coaching and support can come in.
And confidence building.
Absolutely.
Oh, amazing. So what's next for Nel Flint Career Coaching? We've already given a little teaser earlier when you were talking about the new stuff that you've got going on, but...
So definitely this sort of sideways move into confidence coaching, that's something that I am super passionate about and find really fulfilling, and I think has got a real place at the moment for people to need that, and hopefully growing my coaching business so it can help more people.
And would you ever consider, depending on where the tipping point is, this
it's a
being
multi-million-dollar question, isn't it? I think I would love to have that flexibility, and I think at some point I'm going to have to make a decision, but I don't think I would ever want to do this completely full-time, not for a few more years, because I still really genuinely love events and everything that does for me. And I think it's really important that I've got that link back to it's a global organisation that I work in. So understanding what goes on in a big global corporate really helps me to understand how that impacts other people as well.
Which obviously supports in your coaching business. So how can people get in touch with you to find out more about if they've heard anything today that they thought this would really be helpful to me, what's the best way in getting hold of you?
So 2 different platforms that I use all the time. So Instagram, you can find me at Nel_Flint_ career coaching.
Yeah.
Or on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, I talk about all of the career coaching, confidence coaching, and my 9-to-5 job as well.
Right.
And that's just Nel Flint.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Well, don't hesitate to get in touch. If you've been listening to this, as have I, and your cogs are starting turning and you're thinking, oh my God, I could do with a bit of this, then just get in touch. Just take that leap to find out a little bit more and see how Nel can support you in your career or growing your confidence. But Nel, talk to me about the good, bad and the ugly. Ugly. Stuttered there. So we do this thing where you share something that's happened either personally or professionally recently that's come under the heading of either good, bad or really ugly.
So I'm going to share the good
Oh,
today.
people generally do share the good.
And it's something that was a complete surprise, but I am incredibly proud of. And actually using the techniques that I tell other women about. Last week I won an award.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
at work, tell us a bit about that.
Linked to work, but it's actually based on my career coaching. So there is an initiative within the events industry called Fast Forward 15 that's been running for the past, 14, 15 years. Was set up by an incredible woman in the events industry called Faye Sharp, where every year 15 people apply to become mentees and their mentors. This year, for the first time, at Fast Forward 15 ran an awards night. And I was nominated and then went on to win Coaching Champion of the Year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
went to
my
London,
gosh.
big awards do. It was absolutely amazing. And linked to that are the organisation that I work for, BCD Meetings and Events. Our internal mentoring scheme also won Mentoring Scheme of the Year.
Wow.
So double celebration.
Big night.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh my gosh. And was it like a fun event?
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was in London, at a big conference centre, and it was actually the mentees each year have to organise something to raise money.
Yeah.
So because Faye and Fast Forward 15 wanted to do this awards do, the 15 mentees actually organised and put this on, and it's incredible. Every year they have such a group of enthusiastic women from and they're not always young, although the majority of them are, because it's a great way to build your career in events, but they've got lots of different people. And yeah, they blew us all away. It was amazing.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you actually come away with like a physical...
Yeah,
like a trophy type
trophy,
thing?
yeah.
Oh, amazing. Have you got it pride and place?
Yes, it's on my drawers at home, so that when I'm conveniently on a call, you can see it over my shoulder. Like, oh yeah, look at me.
Yeah. And that is not a background. That's a real award.
It was amazing. And I was so proud.
Oh, that's a good.
I talked about it on my Instagram stories last week and said, yes, the recognition is lovely, but it's also about, for me, it's about just that acknowledgement of all of the stuff that I do was actually having the impact that I wanted it to have in the first place, when it was this little idea at the back of my head.
Yeah, it's improving people's lives. It's having great outcomes, and that's like something really to be proud of.
Thanks.
I love that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, Nel, that just leaves Ask Me Anything. It's time to flip and reverse it. You ask me anything.
I like to ask this question when I coach people. So if you could go back and tell your 25-year-old self the best bit of advice to do with work, your career, your personal development, what would you tell her?
Oh, God. That's a good one. I can see why people cry. In the first session. So a piece of advice or a strap line that always stays with me that I was told was just trust the process. And I really like that, because I can be very knee-jerky, jumpy. If I feel like I'm trapped, I could run. And I like to remind myself to trust the process, because things generally do pan out if you don't panic and if you take that time to think about things and assess. And and also with other areas, fitness, diet, giving something up, like just trust the process. And I think I've only appreciated that in my older years. As a 25-year-old, I definitely didn't trust any process.
When you're 25, you've got no patience.
Yeah, no, too busy to trust any process. But now I really value that. I like that. And I use it a lot as well. So I think probably I would say to myself, no, really do trust the process and just slow down a little bit.
Yeah, I think slow down is a great bit of advice.
Yeah, just take a step back. Oh, good question.
Thanks.
Yeah, I can see how that could provoke some tears. Not today though.
I try not to make people cry.
Oh, well, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
I've been so interested in hearing more about Nel Flint Career Coaching. I see you a lot on Instagram, and it's been really nice to actually just get to know what it is a little bit more. And I hope you guys have enjoyed it too.
Thank you.
So
Thanks
thank you
for
so
having me.
much. Thank you.